and a very warm welcome to Share the Love Sundays. Thank you so much. If you're here, don't be shy, say hello in the chat and we'll check in with you guys periodically and see what you're saying. Feel free to ask questions. We're sitting down today with Flour, Eggs and Yeast. Hi guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hungry?
Same.
Always.
Yeah, I know breakfast for us seemed so long ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, please can you tell everyone when you started your channel, why you started your channel, what's it all about?
You want me to go first?
Sure,
Okay.
sure. And then I'll come in and extend the answer and change it completely.
Okay. So my name's Teresa, and we started the channel because of COVID, because of quarantine. We were stuck in the house. We love to cook. We have all these great family recipes. And so we just decided to start a channel. Cam had been already doing some of his own stuff for about a year. And so just like full force ahead. So 6 months. 6 months. See, that's why we're good balance, because he'll 6 years?
6 years. We've been doing pizza for family and friends for 6 years.
That's true. and we owned our own bakery back in Texas, but yeah, we've always been engaged with food, and we're just so excited to have the channel now to celebrate it, and it's exciting.
I think that COVID has given us the time to actually produce stuff that's, for more of a wide audience rather than, family and friends, which we love doing. That's really the main reason this whole thing started. But, before we had things to do like everybody else, and you're just like running around and kind of do it when you have the time or when you feel like it, but it's evolved into something more important.
Amazing. That's so funny. So many people, and us included, have said that on these interviews, that COVID really gave us the time to, and the freedom to really start a channel seriously and put a lot more effort into it than we would otherwise have had the opportunity to. So we
would have definitely preferred to not have had that time.
Yeah, for sure. I was just about to say that, but
I give the whole thing back. Just take it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
You just have to make the best of a bad situation,
Exactly.
don't you? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry.
I was just going to say hi to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Linda Oxley's here.
Hi,
Hello.
Linda.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for coming. John Atkins, Dad. Hello.
Hi, John.
Thank you for coming, Dad. Wanderer Footsteps, who was our wonderful guest last week.
Hi, Seed.
Hi. And if you haven't seen that interview yet, it was absolutely wonderful. So go back and check that one out. And Rog.
Hi, Rog.
Hello,
Hi,
Rog. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Don't forget to ask your questions in the chat as we go along, and we'll check in with you as we go through.
Now, you guys love creating your own recipes. If you could tell us a bit about that, and do you prefer savory or sweet?
This is going to be unfortunately true of most of the answers we give, and it's on a per basis. So there are some days where you're just like, I need that cupcake, and other days it's like, your fried chicken would be great or something like that. So yeah, it kind of flows back and forth, but if left to my own devices with no other repercussions, I would have sweet all the time.
Me too.
Yeah.
But you need a bit of variety, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and for health reasons too.
Exactly.
So many scones we could eat in a day.
So have you got any family recipes that have been passed down that you've used on your channel, or you, the new creators?
I would love to take credit, but I would be really misleading you. A lot of the things have been handed down. We do try to take some of the steps and make them more modernized. So my family's background is Italian, where our recipes have come from. And that's a lot of simple ingredients, but they're handled in a specific way over time, very manual. And we look at it today and we're like, who has 6 hours to do this?
Yeah.
So we do take some liberties of trying to condense steps down and, put a little bit of twist on it. Some things have fallen out of fashion. Like we tend not to try to bake with any lard anymore. But that was popular back
it used
then.
to always be lard back in the day. Yeah.
So we've done things like that, so that it's a nice hybrid, I feel, anyway.
Yeah.
I went to culinary school, so I have that professional background. So when Cammie is doing a recipe, you might see both of us collaborate in a video. So where he will make the pie, I'll do the decorations on the top. So you always see nail polish on that hand doing it. So that's me.
Not your nail polish hand.
We did one to Cam, yeah.
Very delicate, but no polish.
And I have to say, I'm so impressed with your decorations. Those little turkeys you did for Thanksgiving, oh my gosh, they were adorable.
And that.
Oh,
are they there?
Let's have a look.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So
That is amazing.
is super popular right now on YouTube. If you or any of the viewers Google stained glass cake. So it is a stained glass cake and it's all edible, and you can see there's a little squirrel on top. And so this, the 25th of November, we're doing a collaboration with 5 other channels, and they're all doing their own version. And so we're all going to launch on the same day, and then, you know, kind of shoot the audience over to the different channels. I'm just so impressed with the other channels with their content. After today, I'll link them below so everybody can see.
Oh yes,
That'd be
please.
nice.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be wonderful. That's amazing. My husband's now thinking, why does not my wife do something like this?
Watch the channel at a very low volume.
Yeah. Absolutely stunning. Yeah.
Oh, we got in the chat, Lucy.
Oh, we've got three-way theory. Hello.
Hi.
Says, hello, everyone, and have a good Sunday. Thank you, you too. And Linda Oxley says, wow, speaking for us all there.
Yeah,
Mom.
exactly. Oh,
hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum. It's really important to have your mum involved, or your mom.
We could see you're leading by example.
Absolutely,
Quite right.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. To mom. The other thing you guys do a lot of is beer and wine tasting. My first question, I've got several on this. My first question, if you had to choose, would it be beer? Would it be wine?
For me, again, it's very seasonal. So when we start getting into like September and the fall time, I really switch over pretty heavy to beer. Because I like the Oktoberfest releases, and I like a lot of the seasonal stuff. So for me, it's more beer during that time. But you know, in a couple of months, like even right now, I start switching over to wine. So I start getting more into, you know, red wines and white wines. So it's nice, right? You have to have variety, you know, as you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A little bit, and then so you don't get tired of it. You kind of move through the process.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm also pairing, you know, when you've created something, how important is pairing the right wine or the right beer with what you've created?
You know, and this is going to be very individualist. So if you're out to really impress somebody else and you're going out to dinner on a date or a business, always do the pairing. But I will tell you, it is expensive. And if you can't tell the difference of what you're eating and drinking, it becomes not worth it. So if you're the type of person that picks up a food or a drink and you taste it and you're like, ooh, that's cinnamon. If you can identify flavors, the pairing becomes more worth it. Unfortunately, some of us will read a bottle and say, well, it says that, you know, these things are what I'm supposed to be tasting. I don't taste it. In that case, save the money and just drink what you like.
Yeah, they always say the best wine is the one that you love.
Correct.
That's a Roger quote.
Oh, yeah, that's my husband. Yes, I just nicked his quote. Yes.
Price is no indicator of quality or whether you're going to like it or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it's funny when you go to somewhere and you have a wine, say you're on vacation in Italy or you go to a wine tasting at a vineyard. Sometimes when you bring the wine home, it's still wonderful, but it's not quite the same. Do you find that?
Yeah.
Yes. There's something, and we won't get technical into this because the audience probably doesn't care about the nitty-gritty, but there's something called bottle shock.
Oh,
And
there's a film, the movie about called that, isn't there? Bottle Shock.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but basically, if you shake up the contents of either beer or wine, it takes time for it to settle back down. So that is one of the reasons why if you buy wine someplace and transport it or have it mailed, if you open it right away, it's not going to taste the same.
Right. Oh, that's good advice.
So,
yeah, because sometimes you get that delivery and you just can't wait, can you? And really, you should hold back.
Yeah, usually about 2 weeks is a safe time.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And should it always be stored, like red wine should always be stored horizontally? Obviously, the temperature is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this.
And you know, honestly, again, we won't beleaguer these things, but nowadays it's not as important because a lot of the wineries are using synthetic corks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So those don't dry out as easily. If you have something that was done years ago, or it's done in a more antique method with the older corks, those have to maintain their moisture. So those are very much store on your side.
Yes,
or
yes.
Even better, don't wait that long. Just
Yeah.
why risk it?
I mean, sometimes you can leave a wine too long, can't you? And then it's no good. So it's difficult getting that just right. Yeah, for sure. And so were you going to say
well,
something?
We have a couple of questions in the chat. I don't want to interrupt your flow, but
no, please.
Shall we check them in the chat?
Try and get a word in edgewise, why don't you?
Mum says, or Linda, I'm calling her mum now. I do that with everyone's mums. Linda says, how long to do that cake?
Oh, yes.
So we have full-time jobs. So just putting that out there, right? So that was a project that I started thinking about a couple weeks ago. And so then it was probably a total of 10 hours, I would say. But that's like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then I get ready for my regular role, my regular job at night. And it's all about not just creating the cake, but now we have all this film. You got to put it together and make it exciting and interesting for the audience, so that's the production side. But I don't know, there's something about painting, like a cake. It just is so relaxing to me. It's quiet, and you're just there was a little bit of a panic when you don't know if it's going to turn out the way that you think it's going to turn out. Keep going. It's too late.
The camera can be cruel.
That was actually going to be one of my questions, because I hear people so often say how relaxing baking is, and I do not find it relaxing. I find it incredibly stressful. But then when you add on the addition of trying to record it, we did cookie decorating once, and it was honestly one of the hardest things to put together. How stressful is it to add on the extra element of filming these things?
You mean like during the editing process?
Yeah, the editing process,
like
then getting the right camera angles and the lighting, like there's always shadows when you're trying to do things with your hands. And
so I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. See the little snowman? Hold on.
Hold it up there.
Oh, yeah.
No,
there he is.
Kind of, but not really.
I don't know. I think it's so artistic and creative that when I created this cookie, I didn't have an idea of what was going to be on it. I knew it would be a snow globe, and I thought, let's make a snowman and try and make it textured. So I feel like that is very relaxing and not stressful at all. And then during the editing process, I love to edit his film because he will shoot on his own. He, sets up his camera, and I won't know what's happening. I'm like in another room, and then I just get the film and I'm going to edit it. And then he will make me laugh out loud with some of his antics. And I'm like, I think it's hilarious. And I love trying to manipulate it so that our audience can react as well and enjoy it and have fun and laugh. I love the whole process.
For me, I would not be able to decorate on camera because you have this idea of what's in your brain and what you want it to look like. And then you have this pressure of how many people are watching you try to do this. And then if it looks good to you and it doesn't to somebody else, that's a big deal.
I can imagine. And with something like a cake, you only kind of get one shot at it, don't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well,
right. You mess it up and you got to start over.
So that same cake base, I did a drip cake. So there's going to be another cake tutorial coming out. And it's only the two of us. We're not going to eat a huge cake by ourselves. So I completed the decoration, and then I just scraped it off, and that's the second version.
Oh,
gosh.
I love that behind the scenes insight.
Tip for anyone wanting to start a baking channel, you don't have to eat all the stuff like every single time. I'm just like using the same canvas,
It's more fun to eat it, but
but we can't handle all that food all the time.
That's a lot.
Because otherwise you wouldn't, you'd need a wider camera angle.
Let's get to Dad's question. He wants to know, what do you think of vegetarians?
Personally, I think it's fine. I don't really hold food grudges against anybody. If that's the way you want to eat, whether it's for ethics or for health, it's perfectly fine. It's most important is that the food you're consuming is something that you want to do. You can't allow other people to tell you what's good and what's bad. I mean, there are guidelines, right? But we're all adults. And if you want to eat vegetarian, great. If you want to eat keto, fine. I'm not going to try to sway or tell anybody they're wrong. As long as they're comfortable with it, you just try to support people in whatever food journey they want to take.
But I do have a comment. So we do have a lot of sweets and indulgent things. And this is going to be our first year going into like New Year's resolution time. Right. And so I thought, well, we should probably go on a diet, like we should be healthier. So I'm trying to convince Cam, and he's not sure if our audience would like it or not, but I think our audience would love January 1st to February 14th, all healthier options.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
And not trying to tempt them into poor eating.
Yeah.
You think it would be good?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And if you're here in the chat and you've got an opinion on that, then why not comment and let us know what you think? Is that something that you'd like to see? Because it is hard. I know, like if I try and go on a diet, like my husband loves cooking shows and he watches all these like delicious things being made, and it's so hard to stick to it when you're watching people cook with like sugar and cream and all these wonderful things. So I think that's a brilliant idea.
I do. I think it would be a great hit because, after all that overindulgence, we all feel like just sort of, eating maybe a bit less and not so rich foods, for that period of time. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. As Lucy says, let us know what you think about that.
And Saeed has a question for you, or not a question, but more of a comment. Speaking of cookies, I just watched their Nightmare Before Christmas cookie video. I love that.
Yeah.
So delicious. Guess I'm going to try them this coming Christmas. Let us know how it turns out, Saeed.
Yeah. And it's so easy. So you take Oreos, you dip them in a white chocolate or whatever base that you want, dark chocolate, white chocolate. If you're doing it for Christmas, add some peppermint extract to your chocolate and mix it up. Yeah. And then dip it so you have like this peppermint Oreo. And then, it's just so, just try to be really loose with your wrist. When you're trying to decorate, I think most people kind of get real nervous and they're trying to squeeze really hard and then a whole bunch of frosting pops out. It's fine. Just eat that cookie and try the second time.
Yeah, don't try to decorate on camera. That's step one.
Yes.
I think I might try those because they looked really fun and
yeah, they'll be good for Christmas, won't they?
For sure. Yeah, love that. Yeah.
And Linda says, great idea. I get very hungry watching the videos. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So the other thing, guys, that you're really into is Disney World, Florida. Can you tell us a bit about that?
You want to?
Okay. So we live very thankfully very close to that. And we've always felt, so we don't have kids, but you can enjoy Disney as an adult because when you enter that experience, it's truly magical. And we just love how, for example, in Epcot, not current day because, the context, but they bring people in from the countries. And so Cam, he loves Italian. He loves speaking Italian and German. And so we would go to Epcot on a regular basis just to go walk the parks, get some walking in, enjoy some wine or beer, and he would practice Italian and German and be able to have conversations with these people and learn, we went to Norway and said, well, we're thinking about going there. How's Oswald? So having that ability to connect with others around the world and just have that Disney experience, I love it.
Don't forget the British.
The British. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
You know what? It was really good. We were pleasantly surprised. It took us years to go eat at the British restaurant in Epcot. It's called Rose and Crown. Because you guys,
we're not known for our cuisine.
We're not known for it, but I loved it. Wonderful.
Yeah, actually, we have improved over the years, and actually now our cuisine has improved so much.
Give us a shot.
Yeah. What British foods, as a matter of interest, do you like?
I think I was bangers and mash.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just love
yeah.
that, and
I can't remember what bubbles and squeak are.
that's what they
A
mix
bubble
all
and
this
squeak is
stuff.
like a Yorkshire pudding with sausages.
Oh, I don't like that.
I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have I said that wrong? Let me know if I have.
Oh, is that toad in the hole?
Oh,
I
that's
think you're
toad
thinking
in the
of-
hole.
I didn't think that sounded
Yeah,
right. That's-
bubble and squeak is with potato and cabbage,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh,
And,
okay. Yes, I do like
yeah.
that. I do.
Yeah, and maybe corned beef. Not sure. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, because we were vegetarians for a long time, so like a lot of the meat things that Britain is known for, we didn't try until very recently as well. So we kind of had like discovering our own cuisine. In that way.
Ate them back in the day when I was younger, and yeah, then didn't eat meat for a while, but still kept eating fish. So yeah.
When Sue One's just arrived, hello.
Hello, Sue One. Oh.
British cuisine is curry. Yes,
Yes, curry and more curry.
We didn't invent it, but
we embrace it, which
Yeah.
Definitely, you perfected it.
we
yeah.
yeah. And now, fun fact, I think it's our most popular takeaway over fish and chips as well.
I love fish and chips though. Oh, so
yeah,
good.
me too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. The good old traditional British puddings are amazing too. Spotted thick.
Excuse me.
Custard.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
So now that we've finished reminiscing about our favorite things.
Okay, so when you're out and about, say for example at Disney in particular, how do you actually stay focused on enjoying the experience whilst you're busy thinking about camera angles and what you're going to say and what you're going to do? How do you sort of marry those two things?
It's quite difficult because on one perspective, you want to be present in the moment.
Yes.
And then you also want to shoot some footage, right? So that other people can be present with you. So you can lose yourself if you're not careful. One of the things I like to do are kind of cruise around and do the things first, and then come back around for a second trip and say, let's do this, this, and this, and film those things, or or shows or whatever. But it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes it's, you capture that moment the first time around, and you have to run with it, or you don't. So thankfully, we're close enough where we can go repeated amount of times. So
yeah, that's so fortunate.
Oh, so jealous. I love Disney.
Yeah, I haven't been to any Disney before, I have to say, and I'd love to go to that one in Florida. Yeah.
And,
yeah,
one day,
yeah.
And it's actually very interesting to see, because you kind of show us how they've adapted to the current situation and everything as well, which is also really interesting. Have you noticed big changes at Disney in recent times?
Oh yeah, and we were very fortunate that as soon as they opened, we went back right away.
And it was quiet.
Yeah,
there was nobody there. We were just kind of cruising around, and there's I don't know how many square footage or acres of land they have for a park, but it felt like you were socially distanced by default. There was nothing that you could do to really close the gap. And over time, people got more comfortable and they started coming back in. But knock on wood, everybody's been very good about following the rules, doing the mask, doing the social distancing. And now that the weather's cooler, it's a little bit easier.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
We went in like July or August and wearing a face covering and 98 degrees. No, not good.
It's awful.
No.
It's awful.
Yeah.
You can't breathe. It's so bad.
Yeah, we're in Arizona. We
hear you.
Yes. We have the humidity. You have the heat.
Yeah. We have the so-called dry heat.
So I wanted to mention something. I think it's so funny how Cam and I are different about that experience, right? So he was saying that he likes to typically be very planful. He really is. He's, an engineer by nature, and he's very planful. And so sometimes I'm just fly by the seat of your pants. And so sometimes that communication kind of like gets broken. So for example, what was it? Last week we went to Magic Kingdom. They just launched Christmas. We just put out our newest video about those Christmas limited time treats at Magic Kingdom. And I was so excited. I'm like, live. I didn't communicate that I was going live on Facebook at all. I just like went. He's like, what's happening? You know, he didn't do his normal like, oh, let's go. But it was so exciting because they had the music blasting and they had all the decorations out. I'm like, wow. I need to share this with people and like bring that magic to the audience. And so it's just kind of funny. He's very patient with me, and he tries to make sure he kind of reels me in. Yeah,
yeah, right. There's a little bit of moment of panic because she's saying we're going to get this treat. I don't remember what it was called, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is. None.
It was the snowman.
She's like, let's go, lead the way, and I'm like, okay.
Just gonna look.
It's like more exciting, you know, the unexpected, and the spontaneity. Yeah, that's great. And so I was going to ask you actually about the actual tasks of YouTube. How do you split it? Do you share some of them, or do you both have your set tasks that you do in the process?
I think they've become kind of set over by default. I'm not a video editor. I don't like doing those types of things. Like, so, you know, that she's taken that, and I prefer to, you know, get involved in doing something. I like to create stuff just across the board, not just food and YouTube stuff, but that's kind of what makes me tick. I like to create and see the process come through an entire, from thought process to end result. So that's kind of where I do most of the stuff.
And he's funny. Like, I try to be funny, but he's like really funny. Like like, it's just like a different style. And so I love creating the actual videos and creating the marketing behind it. And I know you guys had typically asked your people what software do we use and everything. I'm happy to share that. But I just love being able to make it visually appealing so that people are like, ooh, I want to click on that turkey cupcake or for Thanksgiving cupcake because it looks awesome.
Yeah, you do work really well, and you're, you know, as soon as you start the video, you're enticed to watch it. So that's perfect.
And your music is always so good. I love the one you did for your Oktoberfest, the kind of German music. That was that just like transported you to Germany straight away. It was wonderful.
Where do you find your music? Oh, sorry.
I use Epidemic. So Epidemic Music, if no one's heard of that, it's awesome. They have over 60,000 songs available, copyright free. So you can try a 30-day trial, and that way it's free. And then if you like it, you do pay a small monthly amount, but they do sound effects, they do music. And then what happens is those musicians that are putting their music on that platform, they're doing it on purpose to get their music out there. And then more people who download and click, then they can kind of tell their story, and then they do become copyrighted. And then even if I or Cammie had used a music from an artist and then they become copyrighted, we're still allowed to be using that music because we had paid for the subscription.
Got you.
Yeah, because the copyright thing is such a
nightmare.
So it's good to have it all just laid out like that, so you know, okay, I'm not going to get one of those copyright strikes.
We learned our lesson pretty early when we did a video for family and friends. And I had, you know, I think Frank Sinatra or something playing in the background just for the ambiance of the whole thing. Boom, copyright, this, that, you know, all sorts of notifications. And I'm like,
oh my goodness.
So what presumably you had to take the video down, did you? And
well, you have three choices. If you're a new YouTuber, this is really important to know. So either A, you keep the video up there and you can never be monetized. It can be out there and people can enjoy it, but you're never going to make money off of it because technically it's Frank Sinatra's music. Or YouTube has this thing where it says, hey, do you want us to remove the music in your video? But what happens is that he's talking over the music, so it would remove his speech as well. So it's kind of like unfortunate. Or third choice is you take it down, you re-edit it as best as you can, and then put it back up without the music.
That sounds like the best option there. For sure.
That's really interesting.
We've got something going on in the chat.
I was gonna say, let's say hi to everyone. Wednesday says you'll have to find a Disney niche as there are so many Disney vloggers. How would you guys describe your sort of Disney niche? What sort of makes the way you do Disney stand out?
Yeah, I think obviously we focus more on the food than the ride, attraction, and shows, although we started mixing them in a little bit. I think that's actually a really important question / statement, because a lot of the times, none of us on YouTube are unique, just like in our regular lives. You go to school, there are other people with the same major. You go on YouTube, there's other people doing the same things. But I think we settled on it. If you are happy with your content and it's quality content, that's kind of how you define your niche. So we'll stay in that food and snack and drink and experience, window. But we just want to do the best that we can do. And if we're happy with it, then that's really at the end of the day all that matters. There are people, in Disney and other places that's their thing. And they're very competitive, and that's okay. But that's not what we're out to do. We're not to take over Disney food, but we are wanting to deliver the same message that we do for things in the house or things that we do in our own lives there, right? To get a different perspective.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that was a good question too.
Very good. Thank you for that one.
Thank you.
Oh, Mason Adventures are here.
Hi.
Hello. Say hi, guys. Sorry I missed the start. Oh, that's okay. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Linda says, I love the history you share about beer and wine. Yeah. And I don't know. I would say, like, overall, that's kind of part of your niche, maybe, is how thorough you guys are with the history of the product and how well you describe the taste. Like, I always find I'm so hungry because you describe it so well. It's almost like you can taste it through what you guys are saying. So do you do a lot of research before you start, or do you just tend to go with what you know and what you experience?
A little bit of both. So I'm going to give you a very short story as to how I got to this point, especially with beer. Wine too, I guess, is the same type thing. When I turned 21 and I started going to the liquor stores on my own and looking at stuff, it was really overwhelming. You really have no context of what any of these names, terms, marketing labels, what they meant. And we were fortunate / lucky enough to live near a particularly large liquor store. So I would go every week on Friday after cashing my check, and I'd started on one end. I had no idea what type of beer I liked. And so you would recognize names. And then I'm like, well, this brand or that brand. And I'm like, maybe those aren't the best. Maybe that's not what I like. So I started in the section A, and I buy every week. And then I started learning a little bit more about the lager taste or a doppelbock. You start getting an idea of what you like, but it was a lot of trial and error. Same thing with wine. You could walk in and see hundreds and hundreds of bottles of wine. How do you know? The short answer is you don't until you start trying a lot of them. So that's really how I came into that whole understanding more about what it meant or where breweries came from or how people created wine, whether it was the Greeks or the Romans or whomever over the years. And you start getting, or at least me, my curiosity starts bringing me into why did they do that? When did they do that? How did they do it? Who thought to do this? Why are you mixing these things? And that's kind of I like to share some of that, but I know that deep details aren't always what people are tuning in for. They don't care that the Romans made wine and beer because it was safer to drink than water. That's how they started doing that, bringing it out on the road and then taking other grapes. So I touch on it, and I like to represent the brands. I think we both agreed early on that we're not out to trash companies or labels or logos. If something is egregiously bad, I will say it, or at least I have on our non-YouTube public stuff, like, hey, just steer away from this. But we really try a lot of things that don't make it to film, and maybe because they're not the best or we don't like them. And I just want to give them, because they do have an audience. They're in business because people like the product, and it's not my place to go out and tell them that, hey, this product stinks.
I got you.
I don't like
that's
it.
Not nice to watch either.
No. I mean, sometimes people do that. I think on YouTube, sort of a shock, or just to saying something bad to get more views. But that's
Like even some Disney channels, they have these negative, clickbait type things, the worst things that you can do at Disney. And I'm like, I am kind of curious. I'm almost about to click, but then I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want our channel to be on that negative sphere, even though it is popular and people would click it. We'd rather focus on the magic and the positive and the food and the wine, all the things that can make people smile instead of making people like, ugh, like I don't want to ever go to Disney because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And especially at this current time, I think it's so important to have things out there that are positive and optimistic and fun.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think we've got some more things going on in the chat.
I think we do. Wonder if footsteps. Saeed says, exactly. I love the beginning of your videos, especially with the music. It really encourages to keep watching. Totally agree with that. Yeah. And then he goes on to say, I am with you on this one. As long as you're happy with the videos that you're doing, then this is your niche, doing what makes you happy. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the things we learned pretty early on is there are no shortage of critics. There's always somebody there to tell you.
How do you deal with those negative comments?
Well, we had a differing of opinions. So early on, I started hiding people's mean comments or negative comments because I was like, I don't want to read it. And then he's like, no, that's their freedom of speech. You let it in there. It's fine. And so he made me realize that every person has a voice and it's totally fine to have those negative comments. And I'll give an example. There was this, I'll just say his first name, Henry. So we had posted a video. It was one of our very popular German series food, recipes. And Henry had commented with an angry face, and he was the one angry person on the social platform. And he was like, no recipe. And in my mind, I'm like, but there is a recipe. Like Cammie, talked about it during the video. It's linked in the website. And then I was like, you know what? He probably doesn't know. And so we were able to put the recipe right underneath his name. And then he wrote, thank you back. But then he was angry again about something else. And I'm like, that's just who Henry is. That's fine.
Yeah, he's just Mr. Angry. And that's it.
And that's kind of what we're learning. Like there's some people who will never be happy with what we do, no matter how we do it. And that's, again, that's
fine. Yeah.
But we don't have to change us in order to try and please them. They're allowed to be angry. They're allowed to dislike us for whatever reason. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do anything about it. Sometimes there is feedback that you can learn from and feedback that helps you improve. But if it is just they obviously haven't watched the whole video and they're leaving things like no recipe or whatever, then it's like,
I have to give you guys a plug right now. And I told my mom, I told my family, I told everyone about this video that you created because I found it hilarious. It was when you were reviewing or reading the negative comments that you've received. And it was really, fun and serious, but then you got super serious. And I believe it was Lucy who said, okay, back to the hate. And we went back to reading. And I was just like,
that was awesome.
Great video. People should watch it. If you have not gone to their channel, you should watch that video.
Okay, we'll put a link in.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's lovely. And like we didn't want to create that video in order to create any more negativity. We wanted it to be something that was fun, but also something with a bit of a serious message, to try and put out something that was gonna create something positive from the negative. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we appreciate that a lot.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And I'm glad isn't that awesome, when you learn that you've made someone laugh,
you guys are the best. You guys are the best.
Thank you. Yeah, it is so lovely, isn't it, talking about the negative feedback, but the positive feedback and the collaboration between other YouTubers and the comments from people watching that who don't know. Some absolutely wonderful comments. Isn't it heartwarming?
Yeah, and it's one of the things where you wouldn't ordinarily know. Because I think it's something that most YouTubers, especially people who are thinking about starting, kind of struggle with are, do people want to listen to me and why?
Yeah.
Right. So if you put something out there and you receive positive feedback, it kind of validates what you're doing. And it sometimes can be more encouraging. it's easy to say I made 25 videos, nobody commented, nobody liked them. Why am I doing this? And then just go and find something else to do. And that's okay too. But I think you're right. When you receive some sort of indication that you've made a positive difference, it really validates either, you know, your topic, your message, or what you believe in, right? So we're all out here trying to do things a little differently, and that's important, the variety.
Yeah. And YouTube is such an amazing platform for that. Like I do theatre, I'm an actor, and I'm used to kind of putting myself out there, but I've never been in a platform like YouTube where you get that feedback so readily from people who are watching, where they can immediately leave their thoughts. I mean, I suppose they might occasionally boo, but that doesn't usually happen. So it's Russian vegetables or whatever, but that's not something that usually happens. But it's so nice to hear like specifics, you know, like rather than just an applause or whatever, you know. It's so lovely to hear people say, oh, I really related when you said that, or, you know, it's different. It is. It's an amazing community, and it was a huge surprise to us too. So where else do you post? Where can we get in contact with you? What other social media do you use?
I'll have to refer to my social media manager.
So we have, we try to hit up every single major platform. So on Instagram, we are on Instagram. It's Flour, Eggs, Yeast. So just one, you know, 3 words there. So pretty popular. That is really focused on just showing the visuals of our food. And I try my best to, whenever the most recent recipe has come out, I link it above so that it's easy to grab on that platform. Facebook, we definitely have a Facebook platform, which is Flour, Eggs, and Yeast. That's where we share the most regular content in terms of the, you know, every Friday he does his happy hour on some sort of review for a beverage. Every Wednesday we have a new food release. And then Mondays, you know, sometimes are magical with a Disney, you know, episode that comes out. And then what is it? Instagram, Facebook. Oh, what is that one where people?
What do you mean, Twitter?
No, I mean Twitter. I can't get the handle on Twitter.
No, we don't do Twitter.
I tried. No one's following us.
We haven't even attempted that one, have we?
No,
I don't get it. I'm like, I can't do it. So what was the other one? It's Instagram.
You said Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook.
I don't know.
Do you have a website?
Oh,
I think a website. I thought you did.
Yes, we have a website. Yes.
I'm currently interviewing for a new social media manager.
It's all good. It's all good. So we do have a website. We recently launched it. I think it's pretty awesome. So you get a free newsletter if you'd like, focused on the upcoming month for holiday and recipes. So that is www.floureggsyeast.com. And then, you know what, there is a 4th social platform. If your audience knows what I'm talking about, put it in the comments.
Obviously,
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Do you do TikTok or
Pinterest?
Pinterest.
Oh, Pinterest.
Oh, that's probably a good one for food.
Yeah, for sure.
Linda says YouTube.
And YouTube. Yes. Thanks, Mom.
And I'll just read this quickly because it's lovely. 1seal1 says, negative views are still views. You can't lose.
Exactly.
And isn't that so true? YouTube doesn't discriminate, does it, between you know, positive and negative views or comments, or, you know.
That's true. Oh, and don't forget, everybody out there, please let us have your comments or your questions for our lovely guests. And we'll just quickly say who have we got next week, Lucy?
Oh, yes, whilst we've just paused, Nomadic Trio are coming on next week. They're a mother, father, and a little baby. And they're currently RVing around America. So that's really interesting. And they're a great laugh, aren't they?
Oh my goodness, they have you in stitches. They are so funny. Yeah. So that would be a treat to do too. Yes, yeah.
Oh, and I'll just say goodbye. Saeed's just leaving. Thank you so much for coming.
For joining us.
Says, guys, I need to leave. Great interview and was very happy to get to know you. Cheers and good luck in all your projects.
Oh, that's lovely. I know I was going to ask you guys. So, are you intending, you know, when lockdown finally is released, are you intending to do any travel vlogs?
I would say 110% yes. I think when we originally first started doing these things, we travel a lot, both in the United States and internationally. But sometimes you think to yourself, "Gee, I should have remembered that or shared that or something." So I think we will probably wind up doing that. My most recent regret, we were in the Czech Republic in this really great brewery. And my father said, "Let's do a review of this beer." And I'm like, "I just want to enjoy it. We'll come back next year." Well, here we are.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet. So it's things like that where you're like, it really would have been so bad to have taken a couple of minutes and just, chatted to a camera and then, edited later. The answer is no. So yes, when we are on the road, we will definitely be visiting, things that are either really popular or unknown. Sometimes we find stuff.
Oh yes, so fingers crossed that happens sooner rather than later. So that would be awesome to watch.
And I think what this whole situation has taught us is to really seize the moment like that, because you think, oh, I'll do it next weekend or whatever, but it's just really taught us to just like I say, seize the moment.
So you've got so many interests. Have you got any other interests outside YouTube?
Oh, things that we don't YouTube about?
Yeah.
The car guy.
I have way too many.
Muscle cars.
I like, cars. I like audio, like, stereo and theater from that. There's just a lot of things. I read way too many books.
Oh, you can never read enough books. That's cool.
And then I'm going to do a shout out to my closest and longest friend, Kelly. So she has a little girl. Her second daughter got diagnosed with a rare disease called Mowat-Wilson syndrome. And so since we're in Texas and they're in New Jersey, sometimes it's difficult to know how to support people because we can't be caregivers. We can't go say, "Hey, go with Joe for a movie and we'll watch the girls." So they're really trying to do the best job that they could. And I thought, what can I do? So last year I joined the board of the Mowat-Wilson Syndrome Foundation. And so it's just a way to try to contribute. And, there's only 500 cases worldwide. So just trying to see what more we can do. So that's another side thing besides the regular full-time job that I'm so passionate about. I love. By the way, if any work people are going to be watching this, I still love my job, but nice to have.
Just haven't got time to do it. I know it's really hard, isn't it, to fit in everything because YouTube takes up an immense amount of time, far more time than people realize, and certainly that we realize. It's just there's just so much to do to actually physically do it, but also to research and promote and collab.
But it's also much fun.
Yes.
Sundays with Heart are here. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Morning all. Love the t-shirt.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a lot of love for your t-shirt today.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Very, very rare at this point until we make more.
Yes.
I have to protect this as really one of two right now.
Thanks, Mom. By the way, gift from my mom.
Oh, brilliant.
Hello, Mom again.
That's awesome.
Mums often buy the best gifts.
Yeah, well, they know us well, don't they? And if you have a question for Flour, Eggs and Yeast, then pop it in the chat now. We're going to ask them our final question that we ask everybody before we say goodbye, which is, if you could boil down everything that you've learned on your YouTube journey so far into a piece of advice for someone who's just starting their channel or who's got a small YouTube channel, what advice would you give someone who's new to it?
You want to go first?
Sure. I think I kind of said this a little bit earlier, but make sure that you're doing things that make you happy. And like you said as well, don't take all the critical feedback and try to adjust to it. Remain true to your message, put out quality content and enjoy it. And one final subsection is just be yourself. You don't have to script everything, doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes it's better if it's not. But I think I think a lot of people get nervous. They're like, I'm putting myself out there, and there's billions of people in this world. Everybody has an opinion. And, what are they going to think of me? And try not to think that way. Just, focus in on your message, deliver it. Don't write a diatribe and read it word for word. People kind of get the inauthenticity sometimes. But, if that's what it takes to get started, just get started. That's probably the main message.
Good
Did
advice.
I leave anything for you?
Yes. We're individual. We have different thoughts, but I am very systematic, and I like schedules, and I think audiences like that schedule of pick a schedule that works for you based on how much bandwidth you have as a person to dedicate to YouTube. So what we found that works well is the Wednesday every food and the Friday every beverage, because I know the Friday beverage is super easy to produce for me. It's like typically just a few minutes. It's like, get it done. The food takes longer. And then when I do have a lighter weekend, I can pull out that Disney Magical Monday content. But having that consistency so that when someone goes to visit your YouTube channel for the first time, they can have a clear definition of what your channel is going to be delivering to them, so that they understand. Because in the beginning, we were kind of all over the place. And then we kind of felt bad because we had produced a lot of quality Disney content and then kind of stopped for a long time. And we had gained all these subscribers for that niche. And then we weren't producing the content that they had signed up for. So just kind of trying to create the schedule so that you can be aligned with your audience. And then as soon as something does really well on your channel, like you guys just had that huge pop of the 1970s Britain. Good job, by the way. I'm saying your view count, just go. Like, you should be like, okay, that is a popular subject. What else can I do? And build off and draft so that you can continue to have those quality contents. And last thing that I will say is, do some research on other people's content. So I will typically go to a food channel and look and see what were their most popular videos. And it's interesting because I just showed Cammie this one channel had gotten 3 in a row that had like 4,000 views right in a row, but then they kind of, and they went down for like the last 3 or 4 months. So kind of like trying to produce the content that that the audience is really excited about.
Yeah, and that's so funny. We were literally having that conversation. I was saying to Mum just before we came on, I was like, we should do more of that because people seem to like that. But it's also true, like you were saying, like that took a hell of a lot of work, that video, planning it with Mum's friends and everything. Mum put a lot of effort in. I'm not gonna lie, I probably edited solidly, like getting up early every day for like a week to try and get that done, because it's quite a long one. And so we have to try and find a way to produce that content that people like, but also be able to do it regularly without killing ourselves.
It might have been the title, it might just be the title, and maybe you could
exactly. They don't all need to be 20-minute epics. That's what we're trying to do.
But that is very good, that one, and the one we did about our parents or grandparents stories during wartime. Those sort of things mean so much to us, and when we get members of the family involved, like you did with Cam's dad, that was awesome, and it really resonated, and it was really heartwarming. Maybe you should quickly say something about that video, because that's a wonderful video.
So I woke up Veterans Day, and we had surprised him in 2019. It was a great experience, and that was one of my first videos that I had ever edited. I just kind of was getting my feet wet in it. And then this year, we've been doing this channel now, and I feel a lot more, confident and what's the right word, knowledgeable about how to make the video a little more engaging. So I wanted to make sure that he knows how much we love him, and not just him, but every person who, serves in, the military, man and woman. And I think that if you can pull kind of like your British video and your grandparents' videos, if you can pull those historic photos and bring them forward, people really appreciate seeing what others have done. And just having a little music in the background helps, pull the heartstrings a little. And so I think if people can really respond to a video, then we've done our job really well, whether it's negative or positive. But some sort of response, that's a good thing.
Yes.
And I could say that 15 seconds of footage that you don't want to see is forever, but 20 minutes of things that you're engaged in go by like that. And just completely amazing. There are things like if an ad or something pops up, you're like, come on. You know, it's 10 seconds and you're trying to skip it so you can get back to the 20 minutes. So I just think that that's pretty interesting, and it's derived from real natural moments, whether it's, you know, a cake or an individual.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true,
that
isn't
is so
it?
true.
Yeah, it's that whole time flies when you're having fun thing.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
And Mason Adventures say they haven't checked out your channel yet, but we'll be heading over shortly.
Perfect.
Brilliant. That's wonderful. We love it so much when people connect through these live interviews. It's like the best thing. And yeah, if you haven't yet, then head on over to Flour, Eggs and Yeast after we finish this interview today. And if I can ask you guys in the chat, if you haven't yet done so, give this video a like, because it really does help us out.
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you.
If that's a great message, by the way. It's free to like and share.
Yes, free.
Yes, that's right.
Before
Everybody
I did
subscribe.
all this, I know before I did all this, I thought subscribe means you had to pay for it. So I never subscribed to anything because I was so nervous.
I think that word subscribe is a little bit deceptive, isn't it? It does sound like something, a commitment that you have to pay for. No, it's free. If you haven't yet subscribed to us, it doesn't cost a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you to everyone who came in the chat. Is there anything that you guys would like to say about your channel before we say goodbye that we haven't covered yet?
Well, we have candy apples that are posting on Wednesday, and I don't know if you could see that gold glitter, but it's edible. So if you have ever wanted to make candy apples at home, we're going to launch that video this Wednesday. And then the next Wednesday is that stained glass cake, and then every Friday you can
be rolling up the sleeves and doing that.
It'll be like nailed it. We'll post our version.
And every Friday you can hang out with Cam doing his happy hours every Friday at 5. So
yes,
brilliant.
They're really fun too. I love those. Well, you've been such wonderful guests, really. It's been an absolute joy having you on the channel and to meet you kind of in person. And thank you so much. And then, as Lucy said, please check out their channel if you haven't done so already.
I
think you guys deserve all the credit for this.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're not. If the roles were reversed, if we were doing the interview, this would be a substantially lower quality production. Thank you for making it easier for us to interact with you.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, we just love these. So thank you so much for saying that. It's nice that it comes over well. Brilliant.
Okay, so thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment if you haven't done so already, and we'll see you next Sunday for Share the Love Sundays. Bye everyone.
Bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.